You did not click this by accident. You are here because you are exhausted from overthinking every choice, because you feel the tug in your gut and then talk yourself out of it, because you keep missing the moment you knew was right and paying with regret later. You have been living with a sense that there is a switch you cannot find, a way to see beneath appearances before you commit your time, money, heart, or energy. That switch exists, and it has a name: Udjat Code, a precise and ancient technique for opening the inner eye that your body already tries to use in flashes and that your mind keeps drowning in noise. If you have felt the sudden chill that arrives before the explanation, the quick pressure between your brows that says, wait, even when the room looks fine, the quiet pull towards someone or something you cannot justify on paper, you have already touched the edge of this capacity. The problem is not that you lack intuition. The problem is that no one taught you how to stabilize it on demand, so you could trust it when it matters. That is what this video gives you. Not a symbol to wear or a story to believe, but a working method you can test today. By the end, you will run a 7-breath sequence that locks breath, attention and stillness into one clean key, and you will feel the door move. The pain you are carrying is the cost of guessing in the dark. You guess about people and then discover their intention too late. You guess about opportunities and bounce between hesitation and haste until the chance passes. You guess about your own timing and end up burnt out or underused, too early or too late. Constantly dizzy from course corrections that would have been unnecessary if you could read the current underneath the surface. Udjat Code exists to end that dizziness. It turns flashes into a stable channel. It gives you a way to sense the field beneath the scene before you spend your life on it. You do not have to abandon reason to do this. Reason will finally have the right data. Think of your awareness like a pilot in fog. Daylight vision gives you the view through the window. The inner eye is the instrument panel that tells you the truth when glare or weather makes the window lie. When you switch it on, you stop arguing with shadows and start navigating by signal. The opening move is simple, and it is powerful. You will place attention at a point behind your forehead where thinking softens and sensing begins. You will breathe in a specific cadence that tells your nervous system there is no emergency. You will allow a brief pocket of unfilled silence so the finer information can rise without being trampled. When these three meet, you will feel a click that has nothing to do with drama. It feels like a lens clearing or a room-changing tone. That click is recognition. You have known it in scattered moments and called it coincidence or luck. You will know it now as function that can be repeated. If you are skeptical, good. Skepticism is a sign that you care about what is real. Keep it beside you and let it watch the results. This is not theater. There are no costumes or secret words. There is a cadence you can run in a chair, on a train, in a hallway, before a hard conversation. Anywhere a minute can be found. The reason this technique stayed hidden in plain sight for centuries is not that it is complicated. It is because it is powerful in quiet ways that do not photograph well. It does not promise fireworks. It promises accuracy. Accuracy saves you from people who would waste you. Accuracy saves you from opportunities that glitter while they drain you. Accuracy returns hours to your calendar and steadiness to your choices. The symbol for this in old Egypt was a healed eye. Not an eye that sees more monsters. An eye that sees what is actually there. In a few minutes, you will feel why they chose that symbol. For now, understand the offer in front of you. You can keep treating those body signals as random and hope your next guess costs less. Or you can learn the code that turns them into guidance you can trust. If you are tired of paying for late truth, stay with me. Your inner eye is not sleeping. It is waiting for rhythm. Give it 7 breaths and 1 precise focus and watch what returns. You are ready to understand why this method works and why it was hidden in plain sight for so long. Because once you see the mechanism, you stop treating your instincts as superstition and start treating them as a sense you can train. Every moment arrives on 2 channels at once: the loud channel of surfaces and schedules, and the quiet channel of currents and intentions that shape those surfaces before words catch up. When you ignore the quiet channel, you end up paying with confusion and delay. Not because life is cruel, but because you try to steer by reflections on the water instead of the current underneath. The Udjat Code teaches your body to keep both channels open without strain, so that perception stops skidding across the top of things and begins to read what is moving them. The ancients protected this by turning it into image rather than instruction. A healed eye painted where sailors and pilgrims would see it. A reminder rather than a manual, because true seeing looks like modest clarity, and modest clarity does not make a good spectacle. What turns the hidden into a skill is the cooperation of three elements that your biology already understands, even if your habits have forgotten. Breath is the signal that removes the emergency from your nervous system so attention can land. Attention is the beam that gathers scattered light into one place so information can arrive. Silence is the room that lets them meet without being drowned by commentary. When breath slows and lengthens, your spine settles, and the alarms that make you grasp at shortcuts power down. When attention comes to a single inner point behind your forehead, a few centimeters back from where your fingers would touch the brow bone, your thoughts keep moving, but they stop dragging you behind them. And the field you are sitting in begins to feel like it has edges you can sense. When silence opens even for a heartbeat, the finer details rise without being chased, and your decision-making upgrades from guessing to reading. You have tasted this state accidentally when time seemed to stretch just long enough for you to catch a falling glass or speak a sentence you did not rehearse that somehow ended the argument, and you have tasted its absence when you tried to force a choice and left the room feeling smaller than when you entered. The code makes the first state repeatable. You will not be asked to imagine forces or invent meanings. You will be asked to practice a simple cadence that your body can trust anywhere. A few breaths counted not as ritual, but as a tempo that lets your instrument return to pitch. People often ask whether they need to believe in anything for this to open. The answer is kinder than that. You need curiosity and a minute. Doubt can sit beside you and watch as many times as it likes. What matters is contact with the inner point, where looking turns into sensing, a place that is not mystical at all when you find it. It is the seat where you feel as if you are listening from behind the face instead of from your ears. The seat where the space in front of you becomes clearer without changing, and where words from others carry weight or hollowness before their content is evaluated. You can find it now by softening the muscles around your eyes and letting your gaze unfocus, while your attention rests gently in the center of your forehead, like a small coin placed on the ledge behind the bone. Not pressing, not straining, simply occupying the spot until your breath meets it. If you notice warmth or a faint buzz or a soft pressure, fine. If you notice nothing, also fine. The point is not sensation. The point is that attention has a home. Once attention sits there, breath will follow it and silence will bloom around them both as if the room itself took a deeper inhale. This is where the inner eye begins to work like a pupil relaxing in the dark, opening not because you forced it, but because you stopped squinting. You will feel the world become slightly more readable. Faces will show their weather more honestly. Invitations will carry a tone that either welcomes you or warns you. Your own timing will become kinder because you will no longer wrestle with minutes that were never yours to spend. This is why the code matters. It saves you the cost of late truth. It does not make you special. It makes you accurate. In the next section, you will learn the 7-breath sequence that sets this state on purpose, so you are not waiting for a perfect morning or a perfect mood. You will count, you will place attention, you will allow a short pocket of quiet, and you will watch how the door you have been groping for moves under a steady hand. Sit in a way your spine can be tall without effort, and let the face soften so the muscles around the eyes are no longer bracing. Then allow your breath to find you, and do not force anything for a few seconds while your attention drifts to a quiet point behind the center of your forehead, a few centimeters back from the brow, as if you were listening from there instead of from your ears. And now we begin the 7 breaths as one unbroken ribbon. The first breath is entrance as you draw air in, slowly and evenly, until the ribs widen to the sides and the back feels a little broader. Then let the air leave in one smooth stream while you imagine the day sliding off your shoulders and the jaw unhooking just enough to remind the body it is safe. The second breath is gathering as you inhale with that same even pace, and let attention rest lightly at the inner point behind the brow, as if a small coin were sitting there and warming in the light. Then exhale without pushing, and picture a faint mist clearing from the room as if someone had opened a window. The third breath is whole body as you inhale, as though every cell were allowed to taste the air, and the pelvis grows heavier into the chair while the collarbones stay quiet. Then exhale and feel tension that had been hiding in the neck or gut drain downward through your legs into the floor. The fourth breath is threshold as you inhale and keep attention steady at the brow point while thoughts continue to pass like traffic on a distant road that no longer needs you to direct it. Then exhale and give up the reflex to measure the moment or ask for a sign, because thresholds answer presence rather than evaluation. The fifth breath is spaciousness as you breathe in and let the sense of time loosen its grip so the next second is not chasing you. Then breathe out and notice how the room remains the same yet somehow clearer, as if a fogged pane had been wiped. The sixth breath is consent as you inhale and allow the body to tune itself back toward its natural pitch without adding technique. Then exhale and stop managing the process because attention is set. Breath is set. Silence is near. The seventh breath is the pause that teaches as you inhale once more, and then let the exhale end gently until there is a small unforced stillness at the bottom where you are neither holding nor hurrying. And in that brief stillness, the inner eye does what pupils do in darkness. It opens by relaxing rather than straining. Keep breathing, now without counting, and let attention continue to rest on the same inner point, like a bird perched on a quiet branch. If sensation gathers there as warmth or light pressure or a barely audible hum, it is fine. If nothing seems to happen, it is also fine, because the measure of this practice is not fireworks but accuracy, and you will notice accuracy later when conversations feel transparent, a heart beats sooner, and choices stop demanding debate. Maintain the gentle posture of someone listening and let silence remain a little wider than usual so that finer data can rise without being trampled by commentary. If a thought interrupts, do not punish it. Return attention like placing a glass back on a table and keep breathing as if waves were meeting ashore. If emotion visits, let it pass through the space you are making, because this code is not an escape from feeling, but a clearer room for feeling to reveal what it is pointing at. If drowsiness comes, it usually means your body is seizing the chance to repair itself, so lift the chest slightly and give the next inhale a longer beginning. Continue like this for 1 minute and treat the end as gently as the start by letting the eyes open if they were closed while keeping a thread of attention resting at the brow. Even as you look around, do not rush to talk or check a device, because you are teaching your nervous system that clarity can coexist with ordinary movement. Stand, if you wish, and take a few steps while keeping that inner thread in place. Hear how the room sounds when you listen from the center of the forehead and feel how the air on your skin seems a shade more articulate. You just ran the key, not a performance but a setting. And if you repeat it before a decision or a conversation, you will begin to learn its most practical gift, that it swaps guessing for reading and turns late truth into early guidance. Now that you have set the key, expect the first response not to be fireworks but friction, because the moment perception sharpens the old rhythm, tries to reclaim you with habits dressed as good advice. So meet them with the same rope that opened the door. Silence to make room, breath to set tempo, attention to choose direction, and watch how each guardian loses leverage when you refuse to hurry. Doubt will speak first, and it will sound reasonable, asking for a guarantee before you move. Answer it with repetition rather than argument. Run the 7 breaths again and let the data be experiential. If the conversation feels clearer and your jaw unclenches and your next step becomes simpler, you have your proof for today. Fear arrives next, disguised as control, and whispers that soft attention will make you weak. Test the opposite by taking one small boundary action with the code running. Say the honest no you owe yourself, or leave the room that drains you. Then notice how the body steadies. After a clean act, impatience loves a ticking clock and will try to turn this practice into a scoreboard. Relieve it by shrinking the ask. 7 breaths in the morning, 1 minute before a decision. 7 breaths before sleep. No drama. Spiritual ego is the subtlest because it flatters, telling you to collect mystical moments instead of living accurate days. Keep it ordinary and it cannot grow. Carry a quiet thread of focus at the brow while you wash a dish, walk a hallway, open a laptop, and let life become the training ground instead of the audience. Integration looks like this in real hours. Before a hard conversation, sit for 1 minute and run the cadence, then listen from behind the face as the other person speaks. You will hear intention under words and timing will present itself for the one sentence that matters in a negotiation. Keep the inner thread while you read the room. You will sense when an offer is air and when it carries weight. In creative work, use the code to enter quickly and protect the first 10 minutes from noise. The mind stops scattering and a single line appears to pull. In relationships, notice how the code makes affection cleaner and boundaries kinder because clarity removes the need to perform. In choices, treat the aftertaste as your metric. Forced action leaves you brittle and louder. Aligned action leaves you quieter and more resourced. The code trains you to feel that difference sooner, so you waste less life paying for late truth. Decoys will still glitter because attention is valuable, and the world sells distractions that look like depth. A decoy starts loud and needs constant feeding. A real signal starts modest and grows more specific. The closer you draw, let time sort them. Do less at first and observe which one gets stronger without your maintenance. Keep safety and sanity as anchors. Never close your eyes while moving or driving. Never use the cadence to bypass feeling. You're making space so feeling can reveal instruction, not to repress it. If grief rises, let it breathe and show you who or what needs a proper ending. If anger arrives, let breath slow until a clean boundary appears that does not need theatrics. Measure progress by stability rather than spectacle. You will know this is taking root when rooms read a fraction clearer, when you respond a beat deeper, when your calendar reflects what matters without inner debate every hour. Make the world your lab for 7 days. Morning cadence before the phone. A1. Minute reset before decisions. Evening cadence before sleep. Carry the thin thread at the brow like a key in your pocket as you move through ordinary tasks. If you forget, the moment you remember is the practice. Return the glass to the table and continue. Clarity compounds like interest when you keep it ordinary. The signal you used to chase begins to find you because you have become readable to yourself. And readable people are easy for life to help. Keep noticing the most practical gift of this code, that it changes the cost of living by moving truth forward in time. You are no longer learning by aftermath. You are learning by alignment, and the world meets you with proportional grace when you move at its honest pace. You came here looking for a switch and discovered a key, and now you have felt how ordinary a doorway can be when breath, attention, and stillness meet in the same quiet second. So let the simplicity be your proof and the steadiness be your guide, because clarity does not need witnesses to be real. You will walk back into rooms that have not changed and notice that you are different. The noise that once bullied your timing will feel less persuasive. The faces you could not read will show their weather sooner. The offers that used to glitter will reveal whether they carry weight or air, and none of this will require ceremony, because you are not chasing visions. You are practicing accuracy. If the old rhythm tries to pull you into rushing or second-guessing, return to the seat behind the brow the way a musician returns to pitch. Run the cadence you have learned without drama, and watch how the nervous system remembers the setting faster than your doubts can argue. Your task is not to perform calm, but to keep contact with the instrument until it stays in tune longer each day. Treat this skill like eyesight returning. After a fogged pane is wiped clean, you do not stare harder at the world. You simply see it as it is and move accordingly, which means you will choose less from anxiety and more from recognition. You will say fewer words and mean them more. You will let endings finish without dragging them back on stage for one last applause, and you will find that beginnings do not need pep talks when your timing is honest. Keep the practice small so it can be kept. A minute to open the channel before the day begins. a minute to reset before decisions that matter, a minute to let the corridor to sleep become a classroom instead of a blur, and carry a thin thread of attention at the brow while you walk and speak and work, so the instrument stays nearby. If you forget the thread, the moment you remember is the practice. Place the glass back on the table and continue. You did not learn a trick today, you recovered a setting. And the world will meet that setting with proportional grace, not always with ease, but with the kind of support that appears when a person becomes readable to themselves. It looks like the right ally arriving the hour you stop rehearsing, like a room giving when you press with the grain, like a choice that once took a week settling in one measured breath, and it feels like time no longer arguing with you because you are moving at its honest pace. If you need one final instruction to anchor this, let it be this simple vow spoken in your own words: I will return to the cadence whenever the day blurs, and let the vow become a reflex that protects your energy and your aim. Then go live, not to collect mystical moments, but to make clean decisions that honor the life you are here to build. And when you catch yourself seeing before you explain, sensing before you spend, and recognizing before you perform, smile at the ordinary miracle of a healed eye doing what it was made to do.